Hello viewers, Super GT here. So we had a really good race on this Daily Race C here earlier in the week. It was an absolute barnstormer, if that's the right word. So we had some nice little messages. I watched all your videos. That's a good idea. It got a little bit darker though. 10 plus points for each person that put Super GT into the Shadow realm. Things are getting dark here. It's not looking good. As we go into basically the Porsche Cup, look how many 911s there are. We do have a Mercedes at the front, kind of reminds me of something. So, we had an amazing race. You may well have watched it. I was in the AMG, someone else was in, what was it, the Acura NSX, Honda NSX. And it was a good race. So we go again. Let's see if this can produce more amazingness. Slowest guy here, he actually qualified very well. But after spinning, he was actually the slowest guy here. He wasn't lying. So we move up into 6th place, which is our de facto default position. Chewy goes wide on the uphill corner towards turn 9. And he's going to lose position. Can we gain on him here into the hairpin? You're thinking about a move. Goes quite early on the brakes. I look for the move. And he just goes very wide. So go up into 5th on the exit. Now, this race was very strange because it was one of those ones where the race really just settles down very easily, or very comfortably, should we say, and people just find their positions. We did have a bit of drama at the end as Chewy came back up. So I've only got 1% fuel at this point. 1%. So I really do have to be very careful. I'm in lean setting 4, and thankfully you can go extremely defensive through this final section. Look how close he is there. Going defensive again through here into the chicane, and you can really abuse the track limits here, as you can see there. Onto 0%, we go back down to a power setting 1, and coming through the final corner, thankfully the line comes up quite early because I ran out of fuel about a metre before. Chewy goes into the back, not expecting me to run out of fuel. And we finish in 5th overall with, of course, sponsorship of Rich Energy. Things could be better though than 5th. So we go again. So we're going to have a couple of quick looks at some races here with Super GT. Before I move back to Ram Shadow, who hasn't been unleashed in quite a while. So let's see how this one went. So starting roughly the same kind of area of the grid. The Audi there in 4th gets punted wide by the Frenchman ahead, and that kind of gives me the invitation to go through. The Audi was the best car to qualify in, but it really was not a good car to do the racing. It just doesn't have good fuel / tyres, especially compared to the Porsche, which I think is the best car. With the Porsche you barely have to fuel save. With most cars you have to fuel save a fair amount. With the Porsche you don't have to do too much. So coming across the line at the end of lap 1, drag race between the two of us, and we easily go through. Now something that has changed, and this is a correction from my previous video, the suck zone. The suck zone, you may be pleased to hear, is actually way bigger now. It's about 1.2 seconds. So if you're, let's say, 1.2 seconds behind someone, you are going to pick up the slipstream. So it is borderline overpowered. It was way too strong before, and I think it's actually way too strong now. In the end, we finished 4th at the end of this race, and I kind of met my level there. Both of those final race times were about 19 minutes and 54 seconds. Both times, pretty much the same. So let's unleash the Shadow. There he is. It's been a while. And this time, we're going to start at the back. We're going to come through the pack and see how many positions we can gain from... Well, it's meant to be last. It's 18th. So not quite last, but nearly. Let's see how many positions we can gain. 11 laps, so again about 20 minutes of racing in which to overtake as many people as is humanely possible. Coming down into turn number 1 then, and just to really cement our position as Ram Shadow, the Realm Ambassador, we do go flying to the back of someone, just to really let everyone know that Ram Shadow is about. Although I would say that this guy is braking very early. This is something you do have to adjust though. When you're in the lobbies, with lower rated players. They are more unpredictable. They brake earlier. They act. I don't know about act. I don't know if act is the right word, but they drive differently. So you do have to be very sort of ready for that. And one thing you'll see a lot is people spinning out as we have an Audi flying to the track, gain another position. So AMG up ahead, it is a solid car for this race. It is a very solid car. The Porsche just seems to be the easiest one to manage everything, because it is one of those races where you're managing tyres and fuel. You're not driving at maximum, you're driving under the maximum, and this car kind of really helps in that respect. So you don't want an all-out speed car, a car that does the best lap time. You just want a car that is very good at managing everything. So this guy kind of hit him wide. I gave him the opportunity to go back. He just drove off the track, so I'm just going to go through up into 13th. So plenty of people still immediately ahead. Just looking at the radar, checking up, and it looks as though the top 3 have pulled away significantly, but 4th place is at the front of this big pack here, up behind the Mustang of #SwagYOLO, which is possibly one of the worst gamer tags or PSN IDs of all time. Coming down towards turn number 1. Braked quite early, looked for the move. Well, I didn't really want to look for the move, but he braked too early, and then he must have come off the brake because he still went on too wide. So we overtook him anyway. So lots of coasting through a lot of these corners. This is something we kind of worked out in one of the live streams earlier in the week. If you watch some of the top replays, you'll see that a lot of the time they spend coasting. And that has 2 benefits really. 1, it settles the car down, and 2, you save fuel when doing it. So it's quite a useful technique for this kind of race where you're trying to preserve your fuel. As we come down towards turn number 7, the Peugeot goes for the move, doesn't quite come off. Luckily we ghost through him there, and that's one of the good things about the lower rated lobbies. You get ghosted through people quite often. It is actually very useful. So we gain a couple of positions there. Up into the top 10, and we have a big group up ahead of what is in this group. A couple of Atenzas and an Audi who goes very wide and gives the Atenza a nice big penalty. We ghost through the Audi, thankfully. That does help once again. So we've got a pair of big boys here. The Atenzas going to form a nice big roadblock. The Belgian and the Dutchman. Let's see if we can get past these guys. Going into the chicane, there's no way through here. It really is a single track, basically a railway. Try to go around the outside, it's not going to happen. It's just really not going to happen there. Onto the main straight. How can we go about getting past these guys? The Atenza, I think, is pretty good in a straight line. But you see the slipstream effect here. Moving over to the right hand side, I don't want to head myself into the left. I'm going to go into the open space. Up the inside, we are 3 abreast into turn 1, and I completely missed my braking point. Looking at the wrong thing on the wall. We're going to cut across the escape road as the Atenzas return to the circuit in front of us. So are we going to get a penalty? Yes we are, there we go, 0.5 for ignoring the track limit. To be fair, okay, yeah, we got the penalty, and I thought it was going to be bigger than that actually. I think sometimes just by letting off and letting people go back past, I think we might reduce the penalty, I'm not sure. We serve it there, gaining position from Floyd, who didn't have, or he did have the 5 second, didn't have a good time of that, losing plenty of momentum, losing plenty of time. A 5 second penalty is an absolute killer in any race. It's just going to drop you right down the order. So up into 7th, on the cusp of getting our coveted 6th place. Can we get it through here? No, we can't. Through the chicane, we're going to set ourselves up for a move down the main straight through the final corner. He's actually gone very wide. That's going to give us the slip. Look at the size of that wing. I think that thing could probably drive upside down in a tunnel at 0 miles an hour. It is that beastly. So can we learn from our mistake of the previous lap? Yes we can. We're going to actually hit the apex this time, hit our braking point correctly, and navigate the corner as intended. A couple of laps later, lap number 6, catching up with Ice Woman of War 02. Can we get past through here? This is probably the worst place to catch up with someone, because if you're way quicker, you're not going to be able to lap at your potential through this section as you kind of just hemmed in behind. And it was through the chicane I was gaining a lot of time on a lot of people. So through the final corner, onto the main straight. It's going to be a similar story to the last lap. It's going to be a drag race between the two of us. Although the Lexus, I think, a little bit better off than the Atenza. Had the inside line though, we go for the move. Up into 5th place. Is there potential for more positions to be gained here? 3rd and 4th are about 5 seconds ahead. We would need to gain a second a lap or more to successfully reel them in. Yellow flag, what happened there? We go up into 4th. The Italian got sent to the rail. We move up a position. This is lap number 10 now, 2 laps to go. The Russian, under pressure, goes too wide. Going to go around the outside. Can we get this move done? Yes, we can. Just slip by around the outside. Off turn 2, into turn 3. Into a podium position. At the end of the race, it's going to be a 3rd. And I gained slightly on the top 2 for the last 5-6 laps, but not by much. You see the guy in the lead got a 19 minutes and 57 seconds final time, which is only about 3 seconds slower than what I managed in the previous race, so he's actually fairly quick. That was actually a good overall time from the winner there. So we're going to go again. We're going to go in something different, something that isn't the best car, and that is the M6, because it's not the Porsche. So a Porsche is a Porsche, and a BMW isn't a Porsche, it's a BMW. So it's not the best car. So let's see how I can do in this car. The main thing I have to worry about is the fuel. We'll have to kind of keep tabs on that, and I think that's one of the main things. It's probably the biggest factor you have to look at as we go flying up the inside of this guy. Brakes early, still turns in. Around the outside, can we get this job done? Yes we can, albeit with RGBudgy contact. Again he turns in. And this is something, we spoke about this earlier, about having to adjust yourself for different lobbies, but I would say that the lateral awareness of this guy next to me is just absolutely zero. He just seems to keep turning in despite having a car on his side. But we go past him, go past the McLaren, and there was someone else very wide there who I couldn't quite get a glimpse of, but we're up into 14th. So this time we actually did start right at the back of the pack, and we're going to see if we can better the 3rd place that we got just now. So through the uphill of 7 into 8, so we've got some penalties being dished out already. We've got a Spaniard in a Beetle, and we've got through the turn 9. He's going to serve his 3-second penalty there. I'm going to go through up into 13th. So yet another position gain. So this was a cool race actually. I do like Group 3, and after a long think, and by a long think I mean about 2 seconds, Group 3 is my favourite class, and I can't really be dealing with Group 4 these days. It's not really a class that I enjoy driving too much. Group 3 is where it's at. They're probably the best class for me by quite a long way. So I do enjoy when Group 3 comes up, especially in Race C, which requires a bit of strategy. It would be nice though if they added multiple tyre compounds again, because recently they've gone back to single tyre compounds. Everyone's on the hard tyre, and it does often just mean there's one strategy and there's no sort of room for trying something different. So at least if there are medium tyres, maybe you could go for a one-stop strategy. As it stands, it's just impossible. You're always going to go for the no-stop. As we go flying into the back of a Mercedes, just letting them know that R4M Shadow is ramming for money. The bank account is flowing nicely right now. So a lap later, Peugeot very deep into the hairpin, almost going to the back of him. Just held out in time. Doesn't matter though, he goes very wide on the exit, spins off stage left and gives us the position. You look at this line through here, boom, job done. That is how you take it. You can cut quite a lot of the curb through there. As long as you don't get your wheels on the big red bit, then you're okay. And then you have to ride the sausage on the exit, and it actually doesn't affect your car too much, unlike it would in real life. That was the leader, Ognjen Mex, who just was ghosted out sideways there. So we gained about 2 seconds on the lead just there by the leader spinning out and obviously something going on, some big argy-bargy incident. Looking at the map, things are quite close. I'm in 7th, but the lead is only 6 seconds away, and we still have 7 laps left to go here. So things hotting up nicely. This guy is desperately trying to break my toe. His defensive game is absolutely strong and on. No, forget that. It's absolutely abysmal. He brakes about 100 meters too early, and just gives me the outside. Gives me the outside and the position so easily. So it was almost pointless swerving about everywhere trying to defend and then just doing that. There's the pack ahead. One of those pixels that you just saw. That's the big group that I'm trying to catch up with. So I have a visual reference now. I can actually see them, and that is quite a nice thing to have, a visual reference. You can see them, and you can compare directly to where you are compared to them every lap. And you can see if you're gaining, you can physically see it. So onto the main straight, up behind the Concept VW, a very unusual car. But look at the speed of it. I had the momentum, but it's actually keeping up. That thing's got 7 gears. It does have good straight line speed, apparently. And we hit our mark into turn number 1, up into 5th. The lead still 5 seconds away, so I think maybe a couple of these guys were quicker, but they were just kind of being slowed down by traffic, by the group, as they started fighting a little bit too much. Up behind a Belgian now in the Beetle. Can we go for the move into the hairpin? Pull out to the left hand side on our braking point. Maybe a little bit too late given we had slipstream. We hit the apex, kind of. And where is this guy? He's on my left. There he is. He's just reappeared. There's actually a nice little cutback from this guy. Retakes his position. And again, we kind of spoke about this earlier. You really do want to be ahead of a slower person through this section because you just can't overtake, and you're just going to lose all the time as well. Your speed is being dictated by their speed. You can't go any quicker. Fortunately for me, he goes into the pit lane, so we're not going to be holed up behind him for too long. We get unleashed into 4th place, so a lot of these people are not understanding the best strategy as this guy goes into the pit lane as well. So it's definitely a no-stop race. Definitely way quicker the pit lane here. You lose so much time. It's a very long pit lane. So of course, the longer the pit lane, the more time you lose. On tracks where it's a short pit lane, the one-stop might be a strategy. The Spaniard, who was in the lead, just bins himself completely from second. I go up into second myself. And at the end of the race, we come through to finish 4.5 seconds away from the lead and in second place in the M6. Definitely not the best car. I really did have to fuel save quite a lot. You might have seen that I was in lean setting 3 a lot of the time. So it wasn't the best car, but at least a little bit different. That's all from me. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed it. Tune in to another video very soon, and I'll see you there. Goodbye.